Happy Friday, December 13th. And I just have to say this. I know someone pointed out to me, it's Friday the 13th. Um, be mindful. This is the enemy's day. And I said to this person, be mindful every day. Stay prayed up every day. The enemy doesn't just come out on Friday the 13th. Stay close to God. So I want to start off with that. I didn't really understand. I understood, but I didn't really grasp what God was saying about praying for your enemies, loving your neighbors, and treating people the way you want to be treated. I didn't really understand that. Well, again, I did understand it, but I didn't grasp it truly till today. I've been asking God to get me to a point where I just laugh, that I don't allow attacks to penetrate. I don't allow them to bother me. And that happened today. For example, there's one person, I don't know what the issue is. That's another thing. We don't tell people if we have an issue with them or if there's something wrong. We just kind of let our emotions take over, and we can pick up that there's an issue, but we never speak on it. And it's important to voice what you have to say, because the other person on the other side doesn't know what you're thinking. They can't read your mind. So it's important to express what you have to say. And some people just don't like you just because, and that's okay. But this one particular person wears their thoughts on their face, if that makes sense. I could tell that all of a sudden their demeanor changed. I could tell that the way they looked at me was disturbing. But either way, I'm still going to smile and say hello and be cordial regardless. And I had noticed this before. And you know what? It must not be a problem. No one has said anything. But again, it was blatantly obvious that there was a problem with me. And today, I ran into this same person and I handed them something and they snatched the papers out of my hand. And I just had to laugh. I just walked out, and that is when God said, pray. And I've prayed before, but this time it was even more intentional to pray for this person, because I don't know what's going on with them. And it's not important enough for me to know. But what I do know is that they definitely need God, and they need prayer, and whatever it is that is inside them that is making them act that way, it needs to be prayed on. And that's exactly what I did. And I didn't take it personal. But I knew that that person needed prayer. And I'm so glad that God stepped in and reminded me of that. And I'm glad that he got me to this point finally where I'm just like, okay, it's fine. And I'm going to pray for you because you really, really need it. I know I needed it. I'm praying that these are finally prayers answered because someone prayed for me because of how I acted or how I treated them, because I was guilty of it too. But yes, I'm thankful that God has taught me that. And that's something that can be difficult, but it's important. Because there's so many of us out here that are suffering, and we're dealing with a lot. And that doesn't make any excuse for our behavior towards others. But then we also have a habit of, like I said, we hold things in. We don't speak. We don't speak up. And it's important to do that, or you're going to just carry around this negative energy with you. That's not healthy. Do you not already have enough going on in your life? We're just going to keep adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. And when you're okay with this, you're not with God. You're definitely not with God. You are on the other side. You're on the other side. And it breaks my heart now that I'm more aware of what's going on around me, because there's a lot of people hurting out here. A lot of people that are insecure. Again, I was one of those people. A lot of people that are broken, and just they act in a certain way. They carry a negative energy with you. I can feel it. I can feel it And I pray for them, because I'm praying someone did the same for me. If I could feel their negative energy, I know for sure people felt mine when I was in that space. And I just it's so important that we look out for one another. It's so important that we pray for one another. It's so important that we enlighten one another, bring light to one another, because we all are dealing with things in this world. Everyone has their own situations, own circumstances that we don't even speak about. People don't even take care of or address what they're dealing with. We hold it in. We all have our own way of coping, and not always in good ways. Yeah. Yep, I seen a situation today play out in front of me, and it was sad, and it was very negative, and it was just based on one sole situation, but a whole bunch of other people and factors got included into it that had really nothing to do with the main situation. And again, it was so negative. And when you get to this point with God, it's kind of hard to stay in a negative environment, let alone around anyone that's negative. And so trust me, I am praying in constant prayer, praying that God breaks that negative spirit up off of the people that are suffering, because I know it's deep rooted. And again, we all need prayer. So I'm just encouraging you that when you run into someone, if someone comes around, or if you're treated poorly, if there's a negative situation, to please pray about it. Pray for their forgiveness. Pray for their sins. Pray for their peace. Pray for their happiness, because it's necessary. That prayer could actually be answered. Plant that seed. That's so necessary. Plant that seed, because he'll fertilize it. He'll make it grow. He'll water it. But plant that seed, because so many people, they need it. They need it. They need light. They need encouragement. They need to see that there's another way. And once you start to see that there's another way, then things don't look the same. You don't have that tunnel vision. God is light. Look towards the light. God is our light in the darkness, our waymaker, promise keeper, miracle worker. And I can testify to this. I'm living it. I've lived it. And knowing what I know now, I can never go back to that type of behavior. Not to mention, God is watching us. He knows our every move. He knows our every thought. And I want him to know that I'm obedient. I want him to know that if he tells me to do something, then I'm going to do it. And there's one thing that he asked me to do that I still have not done yet. So I have my own things that I still need to work on, and as long as God allows me to stay on earth and stay alive and breathing, that's also very important. Being obedient and listening to God when he tells you to move, or when he tells you to stay put, or stop trying to get involved. That's a lot of time. That is one of the reasons why God sometimes is quiet, because he knows we try to intercede, we try to get in the way, and we try to change things up. So sometimes God is quiet, because he doesn't want us to know what's coming. He doesn't want us to get involved. He always reveals his perfect plan, always. But we have to be patient. So I know I kind of stepped off the path of praying, but to get back to that, please know how important it is. There's some people that I don't even want to be around, but I'm going to pray for them, because it's needed. They need it. So I pray that this message helps you in some way. Until next time, God bless you and sending you love and light.